Hey, Nick here from Additional Crew, and I'm bringing you a quick spoiler-heavy review of Anthropophagus.
Hell yeah.
That is the 1980 classic Italian horror flick directed by Joe D'Amato. It is one of those historic, notorious video nasties that you hear about from Great Britain. That's kind of like a seal of approval for people who like me, who like to find these wackiest, craziest movies you can find and just ingest it. So off the bat, we're given a pretty standard horror opening with a group of folks at the beach being attacked by something that we don't really get to see. But they're clearly pretty upset and horrified by it. And it foreshadows what's going to happen to the next group of friends, which we get to really invest some time in with. What happens when they show up to the beach right before a storm strands them on that same beach because their boat can't get back in the storm. So you're going to get a little bit more of what you see. But of course, that first 10 minutes is really going to tell you whether or not you want to watch this film. But let's get through these other parts too. So the story, with about as convincing a backstory as any slasher, we find Klaus. I'm not sure that he's referred by that name in the movie, but that is his name. He's chasing the group of friends after they realize they've been stuck on an island that has been abandoned seemingly overnight. Klaus is a guy that, when forced to spend a few days with his wife and young child, he instead decides to eat him. Well, rather, they are stuck at sea, and once the kid dies, he brings up the idea of eating him to survive, and then he accidentally kills his wife. It's one of those situations. It's like, accident. Uh-oh, I have to eat him now. Oh, no. From my understanding, this causes him to just become a mindless murder machine. He's so efficient at killing that he's able to wipe out a whole island despite the fact that one dude with the pickaxe can stop him. Something that breaks in a man just turns him into a killing machine. He's better than Rambo, and all he's got is his front teeth because he's able to wipe them out with just his front teeth. He kills so many people by biting them in the jugular that it's insane. And that's not even his strong suit. If you are worried about how crazy or cool this guy is, he's got a gigantic forehead that looks like, okay, so he's like, what if a guitarist from Boston went bald and got a forever sunburn on his head? That's who we're dealing with, Klaus. That's who this guy is. He's like a caveman, cannibal, just weirdo who lost his mind, and now he eats everybody. And he's so good at it that he eats a whole entire city. So you've got Klaus running around like a stone caveman, and you've got your group of to-be victims that are there on vacation or gig work. There are some unique characters in this movie, like Maggie, the pregnant soon-to-be mother. Carol, the sister, is kind of weird, but she loves tarot, so then they have to deal with her because she's a sister. Julie's the pragmatic final girl, and Ruth, the teenager that, even though she's blind, she's seen some shit. The introduction of Ruth is awesome. So they all die except Julie and Andy, who get to watch as Klaus finally finds the true meaning of "you are what you eat."
Hell yeah.
Fine stuff. Nothing earth-shattering here. It's all just okay, and it feels like window dressing to display what is actually important here: the creativity and special effects. And that's the truth. Without the brutality that you see in certain scenes in this film, it just doesn't do much to earn its runtime as anything more than a trite monster movie. But the brutality does up the intensity.
Hell yeah.
And if you're anything like me, it makes you excited to see Klaus pop up on screen, sunburned forehead and all. So let's talk about them. Klaus's signature move is the throw bite, as we talked earlier. He has a knack of knowing where the jugular is and just taking a neat little chunk out of it that immediately kills you. I guess this alone might be enough to call him a cannibal, but I did wonder if he would ever go back and eat the rest of the person, or like if this is purely just a let's kill him thing. I don't know. It's hard to say. I digress. We see a pretty gnarly throat slashing happen to crowd favorite Carol in one of the least expected and most difficult to understand killings in the movie. We see an intense hanging from an island inhabitant that nursed Carol back to health. She literally splits blood as the impact breaks her neck or whatever from the rope. We even get to see a severed head floating in a bucket of water that Maggie, the pregnant woman, is going to rest her foot in after she hurts it. I don't know. Maybe that's just science. But there are two scenes that stand out as the real reason that this movie has the notoriety it does. And that is the Epstein-Light baby abortion, where Klaus just uses his hand to abort a baby and then eats it on camera. Crazy things I just said. You do get to see it in the movie. And it does show it. And for what it's worth, I don't know what this would look like in real life, but this feels pretty accurate. So, Joe D'Amato and his crew are good at special effects. That one is brutal. That feels like an all-timer scene for gore. The second killing is the scalping of Ruth that happens when you think they're finally maybe safe. That doesn't really rank like quite as bad, but since it happens to what is established as a blind, thoroughly traumatized teenage girl, you definitely feel something a bit stronger than the standard slasher flick death. So these effects really do help to carry a large part of the film, as there's a lot in here that is just fine by the genre standards, but then when you add in the artistry of the special effects team and gallons of blood, it kind of elevates it to something that is worth seeking. The last little bit here I want to specifically highlight is the soundtrack, because the soundtrack in this film is a character. It feels both like a masterfully done Italian synth soundtrack from the 80s and also just like some dude kind of putzing his way around a Moog.
Hell yeah.
Moog, even that thing. The soundtrack reaches times where it feels like a clown show craziness, and it almost solely creates the tension and anxiety that would be felt on the screen. If you didn't already know the death was coming, this is what makes you feel the tension. But there's also moments where the synth is out, but it's just being relaxed and kind of moving through a slower scene. It's more free form, and this is to me where it feels the most amateurish, but almost in a good way. I love the authenticity that the soundtrack adds to the film. When it feels like, someone that wasn't musically perfect or wasn't aiming to be just spot on the whole entire time is sitting there and vibing out to the movie they're watching. It works for me a lot. I personally love it. And, like, even when he's just, like, hitting random buttons, like, boop, beep, boop, bop, it just feels great. So it captures just the right mood. To me, it gives the movie a lot more of the character that it needs. Because without it, there's certain things that are just super cliches. Give me that good music. With that said, I'm giving Anthropophagus a solid 6 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
I don't know that it does enough to elevate it to a classic that most must see, but it is an underlooked horror movie that true sickos that love this stuff should see.